Hello, everyone, and welcome back to It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by my co-host, Dalsimer, the author of the book by the same name. We welcome you guys tuning in on these simulcasts on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. Going to bring in our friends over on IG so they can be part of our conversation. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. Have another great show for you guys today. And this is a message, Allie and I, we really just had a show before this show talking about how much I think there's so much value in this for all of you in today's message. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And we're now live on the Amazon Live platform with It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of me in the next week. So make sure you guys do hit that follow button, either here in this corner or down below. You also will see Allie's book. So we definitely want to make sure you guys get it either in print, the Kindle, or the audio book. Again, It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day is the book. Allie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Cyrus. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. Really good. Another great message for us to get into. But Allie, I said to you before we went live here, before we get into today's show on It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day, we have to talk about another show, ma'am, that you've been enjoying some success from. You have 3 episodes out right now of your brand new podcast. So what's your podcast? So what's your process with your son Kyle? How does it feel, Allie, to be able to see the response to the show?
It's amazing. It's amazing. We're really we're getting so much positive feedback about it, and I've had people reaching out to me to ask if they can be on the show, which is amazing. It's a great sign. We already have more people than we can handle for season 2, which we're going to start recording probably in the next few weeks. Wow. And and we're really excited. We've got an amazing episode coming out this coming Thursday as well. It'll be our first woman. You'll have to stay tuned to see who that's going to be.
Okay.
But it's going to be good. We'll start dropping some teasers on Monday. Okay. And the episode drops on Thursdays at 4 p.m.
Love that. Well, if you guys missed my conversation with Allie and Kyle, I'll make sure that I link that up again for you guys. Really enjoyed it as well. And Allie, I don't want to say I told you so. I don't want to say that.
You did tell me so.
When Allie first told me about this podcast, I said, you're going to have people reaching out to you. And you're like, oh, no, we're going to have certain people.
Yeah, it's true. But then we had some amazing guests like you who revealed, we got a scoop, right? Like we got a scoop on some really exciting news. And if you don't know what it is, go back and watch the episode because it's a really good episode. Yes. And we're just really blessed to have such amazing people share their stories and their process with us. And it's been a blessing.
Now, Allie, you and I were talking about this again before we went live here. So we had to let our audience know because when Allie and I first started It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day, and I had asked her about doing this, I was really glad she said yes. I thought it would be a great idea, for people to get to know the book, the messages of the book. But Allie, talk to us about So What's Your Process? This was your idea. What made you come up with this idea and pitch it to your son?
Yeah, that's a good question that I haven't been asked before. So it came because everybody kept asking me, how do I go about doing things? Like, how do I go about, like, what does that look like? How do I go about writing? And I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing interviews, and what else am I doing? And how do I juggle it? And what is my day like? And I thought, that's really interesting because for me, it's just what I do every day, right? I'm sure you have that same, it's just what you do every day. You get up and you just do your stuff. But it's opaque to people who are maybe doing regular 9 to 5 or who are in, school or whatever, who just haven't been a part of and participated in a more creative endeavor. And I thought, that's really interesting. I've been asked now by I don't even know how many people, like a lot of people about this. And I thought, that's really interesting. And then I was talking with my son, and he was telling me about his, so my son is an actor and a singer. He does musical theater, and he's also a scriptwriter and directed his first indie short. And that's not a world I'm familiar with. And so I was asking him, well, how do you go about doing that? And, dialogue boxes. And, well, what do you mean you have to, edit the sound? Don't you just record the sound? And it was fascinating. And I the two clicked, right? It married, like, I'm interested. and want to know about this process that I don't know about. And other people are interested in my process that to me is mundane, but
Yeah.
to them is something that's foreign that they want to learn about. And I thought, what a great podcast idea. so, so that's how the idea came about.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I'm so glad
Yeah.
it did, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad you get to share this with your son. I'm glad
Yeah,
you all
that's
could.
that's actually a whole nother process, Cyrus.
Yeah.
So I didn't really pitch it to him. I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this podcast about, so what's your process? And, you know, getting a look behind the scenes, sort of a day in the life of creative types, writers and whatnot. And he was like, that sounds great. And I said, yeah. He's like, I'd really love to do that with you. And I was like, you would? And he said he absolutely would. And he knew all these people who were actors, and performers and whatnot. And I thought, yes. And so that's how it came to be. That's how the podcast came
Amazing.
to be.
Amazing. And already planning for season 2. I hope you guys caught that. So that gives something to look forward to for sure. So, Allie, at the end of the segment today, we're going to remind our audience how they can be able to catch up on the episodes. Hello to you, MJ, over on IG. Glad you all could be with us. I was saying to Allie, if you guys have been looking for the replay of these on Instagram, I apologize. We've been having some issues with the replay. So, MJ, I'm glad you can catch us live. We're going to, Allie and I had decided we're going to post some clips from this show since we can't seem to upload the entire show for you guys. But Allie, we have a great message today, and we'll go ahead and get into it. But I hope our audience really, really takes this in today, because what Allie shares in this message, I think, is perfect for us where we find ourselves at the end. This is our last show, Allie. At the No, we have one more show this
One more
month.
after this, and
Yeah,
then
this month.
yeah.
Yeah. So here we are at the almost at the end of a month, and I think what this message does is really show the importance of realizing what's possible now. So, Allie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, here we go. To succeed in life, you need 3 things: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. Reba McEntire. And also, possibly, a to-do list. Whether we strive for societal change, or to travel the world, or to clean the house, the first step is the most crucial: deciding to do it. Once that's done, it's time to identify the next step and take it with care, with intention. Because quality of inputs determines quality of outputs, meaning we get out what we put in. Garbage in, garbage out. If we choose to make the effort, we will be better placed to reap the reward, whatever that reward may be. If you abhor a corrupt government, run for office. You might effect substantive policy changes. If you're lonely, call or visit people you know and like. You might feel less lonely and fill an afternoon with light and laughter. If you want to save money, skip the shopping mall and avoid restaurants. You might discover that home-cooked meals taste great and are fun to prepare. If you want your kids to be happy, loving, and well-adjusted, hug them and listen to them and accept them for who they are. You might realize they're the best friends you have. Achieving our goals takes effort, whether working to conquer a routine task like grocery shopping for food to eat tomorrow, or more lofty aspirations like getting into college or losing 50 pounds. It's a truism that the harder we work, the luckier we'll be. There are exceptions to this truism based almost entirely on the negative isms of the world: racism, sexism, anti-whatever-ism. The inequities plaguing society are varied, pervasive, and all too real. These inequities served as a foundational reason for my running for public office. But you can't let the negative isms of the world define or derail you. Isms are obstacles. They create bumps and hazards. But if you stay focused on your endpoint, you will overcome and you will achieve. Life hack: remember the golden rule.
Yeah, I really believe, Allie, this message again is so timely. Hey, Stacy, good to be able to see you over there. Hazel Lee, hello to you over there on IG as well. Glad you could join us as well. I really think this message is an important one and timely as well. And I love the fact that how you begin it. You say whether we strive for societal change or to travel the world or to clean the house, the first step is the most crucial. deciding to do it. And I think this is, for people, I'm going to say this, Allie, but feel free to correct me. I think for people like the two of us, I think that just seems to be what we know just by nature, right? If you want something done, you have to be willing to do it. But how important has it been for you, and how difficult has it been for you to get to that point of realizing that, okay, you want to see something either change or happen, and that begins with you?
Yeah, I don't think I did come by it naturally. I had to make
Okay.
a concerted effort.
Okay.
I can think of many examples of when I really wanted something done and I didn't do it. I just sat there and I was like, someone needs to do this. Like, why isn't someone doing this?
Right.
And there was one particular instance that I thought of after the fact, and I thought, it was me. It was
Mm,
me. I was the one who was supposed to do this particular thing.
yeah.
And I felt really bad. I felt really bad that I hadn't stepped up to the plate at a
Mm,
time when it really was my responsibility to do it. I just hadn't realized it.
yeah.
And that was the beginning. That was kind of a turning point for me.
Mhm.
And like everything, learning is a process. You don't flip a switch and suddenly you know everything, or you know how to do everything, or whatever. Learning
Right.
is always a process, and change is a process. So it took time, and there are still moments where I think, oh, somebody really should take care of that, and I'm like, no, me, I'm the one who's supposed to take care of that. That actually is within my sphere of influence. So you have I'm a big believer in the circles, the sphere of influences. You have your close sphere where you can impact and make a difference. Then you
Right.
have your broader sphere where you can have an influence, but you can't make a direct impact. And then you have those things that are completely outside of your control, and you just got to let them go because
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it. Um, but I think we too frequently increase the width of that outer band and shrink the width of those inner bands, when in fact we really can do and influence more than we realize.
Mm. And you give some really practical examples of that, and some of them may be bigger than others, on the surface, Allie, but all of them are important. Like you mentioned, the first one, if you abhor a corrupt government, run for office. And that may seem like a big thing. And then you say what the effect of that could be, that you might, affect societal, substantive policy changes. But then you give the example of, if you want to save money, skip the shopping mall and avoid restaurants
Mm-hmm.
that you might discover. So that's a great range there. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because a lot of times we think, oh, well, what I'm doing is not that big. But I think this book has really shown that all big things start small, right? I mean, and I think that's such a big point for all of us in our lives, that we may not start off. I remember reading Martha Stewart's book, The Martha Rules, and she said in the book, I didn't start an omnimedia company in my kitchen. I started a catering company in my business, in my kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But it grew into other things, but I had to start somewhere. How important has that been for you to remind yourself of that, Allie, of that no matter what you want to do, you have to start somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if I've thought about that directly so
Mhm.
much, but I've certainly thought about it in the broad sense. You know, we talked about the Lao Tzu quote: "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with not with that first step, but with the decision to take that first step, with just
Yeah.
deciding to do it." You have to shift your mindset, right? You have to shift that beach balloon so that you can see a green instead of a red, and
Mhm.
you can then make yourself go. I'm fond of saying to my kids that the hardest part of working out is getting to the gym, right? You can get to the gym, you're half your workout's done. Like you're
Yeah.
50% done
Yeah.
just getting there. And I think that's true for all tasks.
Mhm.
Starting is just the biggest hurdle. That's the whole Nike slogan, just do it. It's so easy except for that doing it part.
Right.
Um, but the truth is that we all have dreams, regardless of whether you want to consider them big or small.
Hmm.
They're all important, right?
Right.
There's not that some dreams are more important than other dreams. They may have greater scope, but whatever you think is important to you.
Hmm.
And if it's important enough, you'll take the action to try and benefit yourself in some way in moving forward towards it. Because if you don't, you're not hurting anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in, just believing in yourself, and also gracing yourself patience and kindness, because change is hard. Change is really tough.
Mhm.
And even small changes can seem big. I actually had there was a situation, you're gonna think this is so stupid, but so I haven't had a haircut in like forever, right? And because the last person I used to go to this woman, and she went out of business after the pandemic, and so I just haven't had my hair cut and styled for a long time. This is so stupid. But I'm going traveling next week, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to have free time. I'm going to have some downtime. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it was the hardest thing in the world to be like, okay, I'm going to make this appointment in another city while someone I don't know, and do this. And it's like, it's just hair, it's not a big deal. And yet I had to make myself do that. And I think what that says is, no matter what the change is, no matter what the accomplishment is you want to achieve, whether it's big or small, it's hard to do, but there's no one who's going to do it for you. You have to just do it.
Yeah. I totally, and as someone who also has the hair issues, Allie, I don't think that's silly at all. I totally understand. I told you about the story of my barber of 15 years had moved, and I had to find a new barber, and that was very difficult for me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I know, it's funny, these little things that are really so unimportant in the grand scheme of life. They're just
right,
and yet they're a big deal.
They are.
But see, but you have to be also patient with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, we do what we can do in the time and in the space we can do it.
Right.
And as long as we're making the effort, it's okay. The problem comes if we don't make the effort. If you make the effort and you just can't get there, that's okay. At least you made the effort. Try again tomorrow.
That's it. Dr. Vam, hello to you. Dr. Vam says, so true. All dreams are important. Dr. Vam also says, hair issues, really, Cyrus? Yes, Dr. Vam. I've had a certain look for the whole time I've been in public for 22 years. And so I'm used to having a certain hair length, and yeah, I have hair issues like everyone else. But for everyone else, welcome. You all are watching It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by Allie Dalsimer, who wrote the book that this series is based on. We're talking about the message that you all found. If you have the paperback of the book, is on page 69. The quote from Reba McEntire: to succeed in life, you need three things: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. The other point you made in this, though, Allie, is so important, and that is this: achieving our goals takes effort. Whether working to conquer routine tasks like grocery shopping for food to eat tomorrow, or more lofty aspirations like getting into college or losing 50 pounds, it's a truism that the harder we work, the luckier we'll be. What do you want our audience to know about that? If they're looking at where they are now, we do have one more week here in the month of October, but if they're looking at where they are now, Allie, and saying, okay, this is not where I saw myself when this year began or when this month began, what do you hope they realize about them making a decision to act now, about the importance of that?
It's never too late. Like the quote says, the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is now.
Yeah.
It's today, and what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. But, you have the Reba McEntire quote, right? You have to have your backbone. You have to have strength. You have to have that strength, and you have to have your determination, but you have to have a funny bone as well, right? You have to be able to laugh at your mistakes and learn from them and not let them get you down. Because if you're moving into a new area, if you're trying to achieve a new goal, if you're trying to work towards some ambition, you will have setbacks. You will have quote unquote failures. I prefer to think of them as learning experiences. I don't even remember how many times Edison failed at the light bulb, but he was a big believer in saying, I didn't fail. I just, didn't succeed. I just learned 97 times or whatever it was before I found the right mix. And
Right.
that to me is all part of the process and part of making that effort and working towards it. And the harder you work, the luckier you'll be. Really means if you just keep trying, it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
also, I'm a big believer in if you are doing something that you are meant to do and that you care about, that the universe will conspire to help you succeed. You know,
Mm.
things will align. People will come into your life who help you, right? When when the student is ready, the teacher appears,
Yeah.
or whatever the aphorisms may be that speak to that truth, because it is a truth.
Yeah.
And just listening to our inner selves and really figuring out what we want to do, and then just taking that first step, that really is half the battle to getting there. And if you find yourself here on October 24th and you're not where you wanted to be, on January 1st, you said by the end of October, I want to achieve XYZ, and you haven't done that yet, I think I would say, have you tried?
Mm.
If you haven't tried, now's the time to start it. And if you've tried, I would say keep at it, because my guess is if you turn around and look behind you, you've taken a lot of little steps already. Maybe you just don't realize how many you've taken and how far you've already come.
Yeah. Such a great point. Midnight East Book Bar, hello to you over there on Facebook. She also says, I love this title. It's a great title for sure. And it's a great reminder for us all. Again, everyone, the book is It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day by Ali Dalsimer. It's a great reminder, I think, for all of us, especially as we talk about today's message about seeing where you want to go, what you want to do, and then making the decision to do it, and then going from there. And I think that's it. I love the fact that you brought up the Edison, Thomas Edison, because I would say this the last few years, Allie. I used to tell people that my idea of success definitely has evolved, but now even my idea of what failure is has evolved, and not even using that word because I feel that same way. I found ways that didn't work, found ways that didn't work with the right with in a certain order, and I think that is to me that's a good thing. That's not a negative. I think we make things a negative that don't need to be.
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad you brought that up about Thomas Edison because I totally think that's a great thing. So again, everyone, make sure you guys get your book here on Amazon, either the print, the Kindle edition, or the audio book. But Allie, let them know how to stay connected with you and also how they can catch up on the other episodes of
Yeah.
So What's Your Process.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow us on Instagram at So What's Your Process? And on YouTube, you can subscribe and catch the past editions, YouTube at So What's Your Process. And honestly, the best thing to do is sign up for my newsletter at allydalsimer.com/newsletter. And I always talk about how I provide helpful tools and resources and whatnot, and I do. But I never mention that the whole first half of the newsletter is all author updates. I provide links to the podcasts. I
Mhm,
provide book recommendations, because I do these book recommendations,
mhm.
and I provide behind the scenes looks at what I'm working on. And a lot of times I'll put in personal updates. I'm going to be going to see my son, and I think I'm going to try and see if I can get a picture and put a personal update in there. So it's kind of fun because you get a little bit of behind the scenes about my process,
Right.
and about my life. And I'm happy to share that and connect with folks, as well as tools and usable resources. Cyrus, you mentioned that I provide like tangible examples. I'm big on that because so many people just tell us how to fix things. Just fix that. But then they don't give you the tools and resources for you to actually be able to do it. And so that's what I try to do, is give you usable, tangible information and resources to help you achieve whatever it is you need to achieve.
Love that. Well, Allie, another great show today. Looking forward to next week as we're wrapping up yet another month.
Yes, it's going to be great. Thank you, Cyrus. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
Definitely. And we thank you all again for watching this episode of It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. Until next time, you'll make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.